I got a rose tonight. That's so cool. Thanks for doing that, Donovan and Chloe. Super cool. So thanks for doing that. I also have a new table, and I'm really proud to say that we have new pens also. Yeah, really proud of the pens. That's also a Donovan thing, so we can thank him for that. We have enough pens for everyone. They all work. So that's going to be super great tonight because last week, that's like the second time that I've forgotten the pens thing. So, hey, we are in week 2 of a series called Love Letters. A lot of us were here last week and we wrote some letters. They're still in the mailbox. They haven't been like opened or moved around or anything. So promise you that. Some of you put your initials on them, or wrote a name, or just put like a signal on them. If you want to do that this week, we'll roll white slides and I'll explain it at the end, but you can do that and we'll give them back to you at the end of the series if you want them back. Forgot to say that last week, so we'll do this the next couple weeks, or this week and next week, but if you want yours back, I would invite you to just write your initials on it or something that can signify that it's yours. But well, we are in week 2 now of this series, and I want to just quickly do a little bit of review of where we went last week, because if you weren't here last week, or maybe you're like wondering why we're talking about love letters, it's not just because it's Valentine's Day. It's because over the next couple weeks, we're talking about a really important topic, which really we're breaking down into 3 weeks, which the last week was about love, this week is about dating, and next week is about sex. So these are really awkward things to talk about, but we need to make space to talk about these things in our society. So what? Oh, awkward things? I do have a podcast about that, but we don't talk about it. So we make space to just talk about some of these things because it's just an awkward topic that we feel like is really important, and dating is something that's really important in our lives today. So we wanted to talk about the truth is that God designed us for love as humans. Whether maybe we can like come to that realization really easy, or maybe it's harder for us to even begin to believe that we were actually designed to love and also to be loved. But that's how we were designed as humans, is that God created us to love and also be loved. But what happens as humans is we start to confuse what love really is. Yeah, you didn't touch it. I don't know what happened. Maybe if I stand right here instead. We start to confuse love. It gets really confusing. There are TV shows that are full of people who are going, like the Bachelor, like, does he really love me? Do I really love her? What happened to what we had? And these are kind of questions that we actually all ask when it comes to relationships. Like, should I marry this person? Should I not marry this person? Should I date this person? Should I even remotely like this person? But we ask ourselves a lot of really big questions, put a lot of pressure on ourselves when it comes to love. The second thing we said is that we were designed for love, but we underestimate the power of it a lot. So it's this really powerful thing, but we really just feel like it's something we can just jump into, like we're ready for it, or like it's this like quick step that we take, and we don't really take time to consider like how big and how powerful love really is, but it's something that scientifically can rewire your brain. It's a really important thing. So we hit a couple more, and we're talking about this topic because it's really important, and this week we are talking about dating. And I'm going to open with this, and it's really clear. It's going to make a lot of sense to you. Here is the truth we're going to start with tonight. Dating is like sailing a ship across the ocean, not like building an IKEA desk. Does that make sense to everybody? Dating is like crossing the ocean. It's not like building an IKEA desk. Clear as water. We're good. We understand where we're going with that? Okay, no. So here's the reality when it comes to dating. An IKEA desk is sometimes frustrating, but IKEA comes and it's not put together. It's in a bunch of different parts. And you're given a manual, and you're actually told exactly how to put this desk together. And if you follow steps 1 through 10 or A through Z or whatever the steps are, you'll have a completed desk that is functioning and that works and that looks exactly the same as every other desk that product was designed to look like. And if you follow those steps, you follow them in the right order, and you do the right things, you'll actually end up with a completed, perfect-looking, functional desk. Dating is not like that. There's no manual for a successful relationship. When it comes to dating, the Bible doesn't say, thou shalt not date this, or thou shalt date this, or thou. I don't know where I was going with that. That's a lot of words for a guy like me. But it's true that there's not like a manual for when it comes to dating. It's more like sailing a ship across the ocean. So you want to talk about jumping into sailing a ship across the ocean. It actually takes a lot of preparation. And sailing a boat at all, let alone across an ocean, it's far too dangerous to not be prepared for different situations that will happen. And actually, the winds will change, and the seasons will change, and the waves will change, and the conditions will change so fast that if you're not ready to react, it can feel like your life, it can be reality in a ship crossing the ocean, that your life is actually on the line. There's no manual, but there is this reality that there's no like manual to dating, but there's a lot that's on the line when it comes to dating. And what we want to do is help you date better. That's like, I don't know if like, I never was taught to have the mindset in high school, like, hey, we want to help you date better. My mom didn't even want me to date. Does anyone fall in that category? Like just people just in your life don't want you to date at all. That's my background. But we want to help you date without regrets, which we know is really difficult because dating is actually really dangerous. There's risk involved for both parties when it comes to dating. People like Taylor Swift and Olivia Rodrigo and all these big names, they're not just famous because they have incredible voices and are amazing performers, but they actually belt out these songs that are about their relationship problems and relationship successes. And what we do is we belt the lyrics out with them because we feel like they're actually naming things that are happening in our own story. We relate to the lyrics that they're singing about in their hard breakups and in their hard experiences and in their difficulties when it comes to dating and love and all these different things. Ed Sheeran, we sing these lyrics out as if they're writing our own story. Because dating is a risky thing. It's dangerous, not just in terms of what can happen when you're dating, but like mentally and physically and emotionally. Dating is risky business. Is that fair to say? That dating is just a risky thing? There's risk involved for both parties. It's not something just to enter into lightly. And if you think about it, in light of how dangerous and risky it is, it's the same with like steering a ship. It's not a commitment that you should just jump into. There's a reason why like you have to have certain certifications to like go on to drive a boat, let alone drive a massive ship across the ocean. You don't get a manual. A lot of times on IKEA desk will even give you like tools and things that you need to complete this desk, and it's just not like that when it comes to dating. So this may seem severe, but when I was dating, and I don't know if you'll agree with this sentiment or not, when I was in high school, I love that I'm not dating anymore. That's super cool. So props to me. I made it. No, yeah, I don't have to celebrate Valentine's Day anymore. That's why I'm a youth pastor. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. That's pro tip. That's a joke. But this may seem like really, I don't know, intense, but when I was in high school, when I was dating, it kind of felt like my life was on the line. In the same way that there's this ship that's trying to sail and the captain maybe didn't prepare, there's big waves or changing conditions, I felt like my whole life was on the line when it came to dating. I don't know if you guys resonate with that or not. It feels like you feel the weight of this really dangerous thing, this important thing. So because of this tonight, I want to unpack a really big misconception when it comes to dating. And if you've been through a dating and love series at Movement, we love the myths and things like that. And I want to talk about one tonight. Convenient, I said that there's only one, but this is called the myth of the one. Okay, this is what this is, the one. This is an idea that God designs a person and sets them aside just for us. There's one person that God has created that we will get to love for the rest of our life. And it's this one person that God says, you will find this person somewhere along your path, and this person will find only you along your path, and you two will love each other forever. And the idea is that when you find this one person, nothing else matters. And everything you've done in your past and everything that you are and all of your things that are not good maybe about you don't matter anymore. Because the one will accept you exactly how you are. And all of a sudden, the green flags are lighting up and all of the red flags and yellow flags disappear. There's no fighting, there's no anything like that. And I think this is like, we get this in movies, we get this in music. I was on Pinterest doing some research on this topic, which is a weird place to do research. Maybe don't quote that in your papers. But I found this quote right here. It says, when you find the right one, you'll know because that love will make you want to call your ex. So I don't know about you guys. Nobody has ever made me want to call my ex before. Not one person. And if I were to guess, I don't think that anyone will make me want to do that. But this is another, how about this next one here? It says this. Once you find the one, you'll see how much love is actually supposed to be easy. If you're married in the room or you've been in a relationship or wherever you're at, maybe you can attest to this, and maybe I'm the only one. And I love Madison very, very, very much, so don't hear me wrong, but that is not true. There's nothing about love that is necessarily easy. And when you find the person that you will eventually spend the rest of your life with, it will not be an easy thing. And it's something that you'll have to fight for, and that you'll have to say you're sorry a lot. And there are just a lot of things that come with dating and love and all of these different things. And thousands of people, both of these quotes, thousands of people were like, yes, OMG, this is so true. And I'm just wondering, like, whether if they're married or they're not or whatever, if they're in a relationship and they don't fight. Like, I remember growing up, there was an older couple in my church that was interviewed on stage because they claimed that they never once fought in their whole entire relationship of over 50 years. And I'm going, okay, great. So out in open, you never fought. It just doesn't make sense. That's not like a real thing that happens. But the one is this myth that God sets aside one person for us. And once you meet them, all of those problems will disappear. The other way that this kind of spins itself in the same vein is that we look for the one who will complete us. We feel like we don't name it this way, but the sentiment is that we look for the person who's supposed to complete us as a person. This could not be further from the truth, and maybe you struggled with this, but I want to tell you tonight, this isn't my own opinion. This is actually just truth about how God feels about you. You're a complete person. 100% truly you as a person. And that is a person that God loves so deeply. You don't need someone to complete you. If this was true, if it was a thing where we needed someone to complete us, then what do you say about like these biblical heroes like Paul, who wrote like the majority of the New Testament? Paul never married. What do you say about literally Jesus, who never married? If we needed someone to complete us, really the right relationship would look like two people who live in that completeness because of who they are in Jesus. So the danger in this, the danger in the one myth, is that if you start trying to look for the one, you're using your own set of opinions and rules trying to find this one person that God set aside for you, that you let your feelings decide your actions. Which may not sound like a very like a really important thing, but this is actually really, really dangerous. And we can start to look for qualities that aren't great. We can start to look for the wrong thing. Now, if this myth were true, it seems like the stress of looking for a partner would diminish. If it were true that God only made one person for us and that God designed our paths to cross at some point, why do we feel the need to search for someone? Why do we feel the need to have our own opinions about what it's going to look like? Because if God actually designed one person for us, what does our opinion really matter in the process? This myth could not be further from the truth. So here's the thing. A lot of times what we do is we ask this question right here. How do I find the one? Maybe we ask this question sometimes. I remember crying to my mom because I couldn't date in 6th grade, and like every other kid, I listened to her, and I didn't get a girlfriend. And then I remember being in 6th grade, and the girl that I liked, Carly, was in 7th grade, and we were watching a movie about a tornado in class. And I remember I leaned over and I said, "Hey," I whispered this in her ear. I said, "Hey, when my mom says it's okay when I turn 16, I'm going to call your dad and ask for permission to ask you out." And she said, "Okay," and then we never spoke again. So we asked this question. I remember crying to my mom about, "She's the one, please let me date." And it wasn't great. But so that's the question that we kind of search for is how do I find the one? The real question that we should be asking, now this is going to be confusing and we'll unpack this, but the real question we should be asking is this: how do I become the type of person that the type of person I'm looking for is looking for? That's a really long sentence. There's a lot of words right there. But the real question that we should be asking is, how do I become the type of person that the type of person I'm looking for is looking for? Now, in my notes, instead of writing what this is to explain it, because I won't use them, but I just put LOL, because I think that's a really funny, there were a lot more concise ways to say this, but this was really fun to me. So I was telling Madison how fun I thought this was last night, and she told me that I'm a loser. And that's what real love is. So how do I become the type of person that the type of person I'm looking for is looking for? What this really means is that when we make Jesus first, the type of person that we should date becomes a lot more clear. When we decide to live all out in this creation of who we are, it starts to make things more clear. Dating isn't so much about constantly searching for the one or the person that can complete you. It's more about becoming someone who deeply and passionately loves Jesus and makes him first in their lives. And when we begin to lean into a life like that, the type of person that God says that we're okay to date and marry actually becomes more clear. There is not one person that God sets aside for you. If we asked God, like, hey, is this person the one for me? God's response may be, actually, I want to ask you a different question. Does this person meet the qualifications for someone that you should date? In other words, like, does this person love me? Does this person read Scripture? We've maybe heard this phrase before. We haven't. Is this person equally yoked? Do they have kind of the similar priorities when it comes to your faith and your faith in God? We need to be becoming the type of person that the type of person we're looking for is looking for. So last week, we said that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves when it comes to love. And when it comes to dating, it's full of decisions. Dating is full of decisions. There are so many decisions. And here's the thing. Your first decision may be, do I even want to date? Or am I ready to date? Maybe if you're asking that question. Then you've got to decide what type of person you want to date. And then you've got to decide who you want to date. And then you've got to decide, do I really want to date them? And then you've got to decide, well, what do we talk about? And what do we do together? What do we do when we're together? And where are we together? And there's so many different decisions that are prudent every single day to your life when you're in a relationship. It's a lot of decisions. Is this, like, a lot of your decisions maybe, is this something I need to say I'm sorry for? Do I need to say I'm sorry? Do I even feel like I'm sorry? Which sometimes those can be conflicting thoughts when it comes to love. So there are so many more questions and decisions that come when you are dating, and this is a pro tip right now. You don't have to date. So just because you're in high school does not mean that you have to be dating someone right now. There's not this like pressure, and just because you're in college doesn't mean you have to date, and just because you're in a period of your life where you can be, it doesn't mean that you have to date. That's not the whole entire point. But this is what we're going to get to tonight. It's important to carefully consider the decisions that you are making. So this is from Proverbs 14:15. It says this: "The prudent carefully consider their steps, and the wise are cautious and avoid danger. But fools plunge ahead with reckless confidence." So there's a lot of colorful words in there that are really descriptive for what it means. But these are really important words. Now, what prudent means, it means this. You'll see it up here. It means someone that that's acting with or showing care or thought for their future. And when it comes to dating, if you're not really thinking about the future, I would argue to say you're actually dating wrong. If you're not thinking about, it's not just the point of being with someone. You're dating, you're kind of in this process of learning how you're going to get along and if you're going to want to be with this person. So what I'm going to do, I need 2 volunteers. Wait, first, before I ask for volunteers, let me just, hold on. Okay, it's a magic show, so don't wait. No, do wait. Okay, here's the first, okay. Okay, we're going to do a little cake eating contest here. So maybe that'll change who volunteers. Okay. Shout out to Cakes by Laura for helping with this project. Okay, I need 2 volunteers. Kadrin, okay. And Aiden, I saw back here. Come on up, pal. Okay, oh wait, I forgot something. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We have these 2 cakes up here, and we have towels, so so here's what we're going to do. It's hands behind your back, and it's whoever can eat the most cake in 1 minute. Okay. You can raise the stand. Yeah, that's fine. You can use your hands too. That's great. Sure. Okay, here we go. On your mark. You want to, okay. Before we start, Aiden, why did you choose this cake? Oh, so she took the other one? Okay. Kadra, why did you choose this cake?
When I got up on stage, it was closer to me.
Okay, great. All right, here we go. On your mark. Okay, hold on just a second. Taste some of the icing on the top. See how it just, you can do a little, go for it. You can use your hand. Just taste some of the icing.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
It's store-bought. It's not like custom or anything.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay, good. Okay, so they're both, okay, great. Okay, here we go. On your mark. Okay, hold on. I think before we start, I'm going to help you a little bit, and I'm just going to take a slice out of it. But I think we should see what type of cakes these are. Okay, yeah, you can turn it. Okay, here, I'll take a slice out of yours here. Let's just see kind of what we got here. It's carrot cake? I don't know. I don't think are you allergic?
No,
Okay, good. Okay, so this is an Oreo cake. It smell good? It's not? Okay. Great. Okay. An Oreo cake. All right. Kadron, let's see what type of cake we've got here.
I hope it's an Oreo cake too.
Let's see what we've got here.
Ooh.
Oh, is that?
Oh,
What is that?
I don't know.
You want to give it a sniff?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. I'm not going to lie. It looks like dog poop.
Nice.
There's hair. This piece right here is being hung onto by the hair from this dog poop. Okay, you're not going to eat these cakes. You guys can go take a seat. But let's give a round of applause for our volunteers. So right here, I'll just do a quick show around. This is dog poop cake right here. I want everyone to see. You want to take a bite? Are you good? Okay. Dog poop cake. You can see this. Oh! No, I'm just kidding. I didn't. Real dog poop right here. There it is. Beautiful. How? Oh, wait, no, I actually have, show this video really quick, just to prove what's going on here. This is from, Sagan actually got this for me. There's hair in it. OMG. Okay. It's fresh from her backyard. I'm not going to lie. Okay, we're done. It was a weird request to say, hey, friend, I have a question. I need a favor. And Sagan was like, yeah, sure, what's going on? I need dog poop. So how could we have known that there was a dog poop cake up here? How could we have known? So Laura's in the room right now, actually, and Laura was the one kind of helping me mastermind this, but here's the thing. When I asked, why did you choose that cake, your response, Kadron, was that it was the closest one to you. And Aiden, your response was, well, that they took the other one. When it comes to dating, and when it comes to this cake, nobody decided to ask the baker which cake they should go to. And so when it comes to dating, we really need to value the importance of asking the maker, the person who made you and who made me and who made us in the room. We need to ask the maker which cake that we should use. They both looked great, and one definitely was closer, and one definitely was already taken, but we really didn't give any thought, any consideration into which cake we would choose. So tonight, I want to answer this question. How do you avoid poop cake? This is the question. Now, Kadron ate the icing. So the question tonight is, how do we avoid poop cake? And the first thing that I'm going to tell you is this: ask the baker. And when it comes to dating, we really need to understand and grasp the importance of asking the maker, the person who made us. This is a really important principle when it comes to dating, is that we need to ask the baker. We need to stop and ask God what is happening, and if we should date this person, and maybe if we ourselves are ready for dating. That verse, Proverbs 14:15, says, the prudent person, the person who considers the future and the dangers, is wise, is careful with the steps that they take, and makes careful decisions, to give consideration to the decisions that they make. Number 2 is this: ask questions. Ask questions of yourself, but also of the person that you're thinking about dating. You need to ask questions. So I've got a couple examples up here, but these are some really great questions. Number 1, is this: how do they treat their friends and family? How do they treat their parents? How do they talk about their friends and family? And how do they talk about their parents? How have they treated and ended past relationships? And how do they talk about their ex? This is actually a really good tell. This is like a cheat code I'm giving you right now. Is like, you need to take this question seriously. How about this next one? What are their priorities? What are the things they prioritize in life? Do they give any priority to their faith? Do they give any priority to the people in their lives and their relationships? Is it only sports? Is it only band? Is it only some of these other things? We need to be really careful with this question. How about this one? Will they help me in my faith? Will they make following Jesus easier? 1 Corinthians 10:23 says, I have the right thing to do. I have the right to do anything, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but not everything is constructive. And this is so true when it comes to dating, that yes, like there are a lot of things that you can do, and a lot of places that you can go, and a lot of things that you can, but not everything that you have the ability to do is constructive or beneficial. Remember last week we said that patience was a virtue that means not just waiting for something good, it means waiting for something better. And will this relationship hinder me from sharing my faith? 1 Corinthians 10:33 says, even as I try to please everyone in every way, I'm not seeking my own good, but the good of many so that they may be saved. And there's this reality that some people can just make it like really difficult to share your faith. And have you ever had someone who lives a certain way and then you see their bio on Instagram and it has a verse in it and you're like, what? You? Bible verse? Like that? Like there's this reality that sometimes sharing your faith it's difficult to do. And if you don't know the answer to some of these questions, I almost fell over. That's wild. It's the smell from the cake. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't smell. But if you don't know the answer to these questions, I really would encourage you to just ask some of these questions. Find out some of these things and ask them like point blank, hey, what are your priorities? Like, what do you prioritize in life? What do you spend your time doing when you're bored? Some things that are really important to know. And the last point for avoiding poop cake is this. Become someone rather than look for someone. There's an identity that God created in you before you were even born that you get to spend your life living into, but also living in conflict with. And you'll fight this battle between your spiritual creation, who you are as a Jesus follower, and who your flesh is and how the world wants you to act. You'll fight this until the end of your time. And Jesus has created within you a rich identity that was created in his image. The point is not to find the right one. The point is to become someone, the type of person you're looking for is looking for. The truth is that God designed us for love. And until we begin to even start to grasp, which we'll never be able to fully understand, but until we begin to start to understand how much God loves us, that when we start to understand that, that's what fuels our love for people in the world and significantly our significant other. Your love for Jesus is what fuels your amazing love that you get to have with someone in a relationship. But the truth is, what the world does is it creates regrets. And when it comes to the topic of dating, and when it comes to the topic of love, we all have regrets. There's no way around this truth. But with Jesus, every single day can be a day one. There's no condemnation, there's no shame. We're not supposed to live this life of shame and regret. And Jesus is what lifts that off of us and says, you don't have to live under that anymore. So what we're going to do, similar to last week, some music is going to start playing, and I have some envelopes and pens, and I have stickers over here. If you guys wouldn't mind passing these around. There's not equal colors for everybody, but there's enough envelopes for 3 for everyone. And we're going to answer this question. We're going to write a letter to our past self, to our current self, and to our future self on the topic of dating. So this question can seem a little bit similar to last week, but we're just going to spend a couple moments. There'll be some music playing in the background. And if you could write a letter to your past self about dating, what would you write in that letter? And if you could write a letter to your current self about dating, what would you write? And if you could write a letter to your future self about dating, what would you write in that letter? And then when you're done, there are little stickers that you can seal that envelope with. And then you can go ahead and just put it right in this mailbox here. We're just we'll fill it as much as we can. So everyone's gonna get 3 envelopes. There's RD cards inside of it. We've got pens that are going around this time, which is a huge thing to celebrate. And the stickers that you can seal that closed with. Spend just a couple moments, and then when you're done writing your letter and you place it in the mailbox, you can go to small groups.